How about this? Progressive VTuber called out men. It did not end well. How about that? I mean, who could have guessed that the progressive people would be pieces of shit? It's just like, not like that they are always the pieces of shit, right? It's not like that. Wait, haven't I heard of Vex before? I think I did. But I don't remember in what context.
Hey, what's up guys, Riff here. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about a pretty funny situation involving a VTuber named Vex. We have briefly talked about this individual before. They are quite unhinged. A lot of the stuff they do on social media is very aggressive and hypocritical, and we're seeing that happen yet again.
So, like every progressive. Literally every progressive, because I've never heard of a progressive that's not a hypocrite. I mean, that's what they all have in common. They say one thing and then behave a different thing for themselves. They are just pieces of shit. The usual.
And after they made this self-described, nuanced post about men, saying the only men who get offended when someone says all men are the men we're talking about, by the way. So we'll get into the...
So if I say all women, and you get offended by that, what I say after that, does that mean you are that? See, people are stupid. People are stupid.
The rhetorical fallacy here and how this VTuber gets very upset when people take their logic and extend it to other intrinsic traits to make a generalized blanket statement about them. But of course, they're going to play the victim. They essentially pick a fight against an entire gender, and when their logic starts to fall apart and they start looking unhinged, they make it a big cry fest for themselves while telling people to choke and saying everyone is racist. Now, this individual, like I said, is pretty unhinged. They have a history of saying some pretty heinous stuff, including this all-time classic from January of this year, saying F you, F ICE, F your God, F your mother for birthing you, F your father for not dumping you in a sock. Your mom should have used a coat hanger, you effing troglodyte. F off and go beat your D to your sister.
How much you wanna bet she grew up without a father? And all her mother's boyfriends tried to get her.
Now that last part is very strange. I don't know why this person is thinking of something like that, let alone encouraging someone to do that. Very strange.
Well, might be because she's into her brother.
But you can see overall, they're a pretty heinous individual when it comes to the posts they make on Twitter. Now, a few days after that, they tried to change their ways. They made this long-winded post saying they're going to do better and they're going to stop being so hostile towards people online. Well, that didn't last very long. Within the next couple of weeks, there was a spurg out here where she started replying to a bunch of different people in a very short period of time, not with words, but instead with memes and pictures where she wants people to be put in their grave. She wants people to go missing. She also wants to go get a gun in response to someone criticizing her. And also said, people better relax or she'll fold you while your clothes are still on. And also silence hetero, which, you know, that sort of slop we see.
Yeah, total retardation. This is just total retardation. There's no brain in works here. It's just total retardation. Yeah, she's stupid. Who could have guessed? Who could have guessed that the people that are always stupid are stupid?
All the time. And of course, when they are confronted with this bloodthirsty set of rhetoric, she says they're just memes. I mean, the intellectual dishonesty is pretty profound. I guess if you send something in a meme format, you can't be accountable for what the message is saying. Ridiculous. But their hatred knows no bounds. They hate white people, despite being one, and as I always say, being a self...
So the people that hate white people indoctrinated her to a point where she hates all white people. Yeah. Typical progressive people.
Hating white person is very sad. They have been completely indoctrinated by all this nonsense to the point of hating themselves for an intrinsic trait they had no choice over. But they also clarify that you can't be racist against white people. Now, for this person who makes self-described...
That's, by the way, the case because the definition of racism was changed. Like they always do. That's typical communist bullshit.
Nuanced posts. I guess they should open up the definition of racism and point to where it says there's an exception for white people. I know, very bigoted of me to say this, but I don't think anybody should be treated poorly or differently because of the color of their skin and other intrinsic traits they have no control over. We should treat everyone the same. We shouldn't...
That's what people always said to counter racism, but these days this is counted as racism because they changed the meaning of racism.
Make exceptions to be abusive towards people based on what skin color they have. I know, very bigoted take from me, but of course they also don't like men, very clearly saying they don't want to go out in public anymore because they hate men, which is also ironic for someone who hates law enforcement so much. But also they say men aren't lonely enough. They also say they want the confidence of mediocre white men, and when people have an issue with...
Why is she God? Can't be the confidence of a mediocre white man. I thought she doesn't believe in God.
With that, they say, now that's what I call male fragility, which doesn't count because it's in a meme format, so don't get mad about that. It's in a meme format. Let me make that clear. It doesn't count. But of course, they weren't done after their history of clearly having an issue with men in a very general sense. They decided to come out with this, again, self-described nuanced post saying the only men who get offended when someone says all men are the men we're talking about, by the way. Now, of course, people in the replies will extend their logic into other categories of intrinsic traits and make generalized statements based on that. And
you never argue with a woman because arguing with a woman is like arguing with a rock. Why would you argue with a rock? I wouldn't.
Does not like when that happens, but this is a rhetorical fallacy that you should be aware of. It's called the Kafka trap. Okay, it's where you make a statement. You accuse someone or a group of people of something, and then if you deny that by the user's logic, you're now guilty of what they're saying. It's very, very disingenuous. And that's exactly what's happening here. And of course, if they're faced with generalized statements about other intrinsic traits, I guess they're not allowed to say anything about it. Otherwise, they're part of the problem by their own logic. And of course, that's exactly what happened. Where one user said all blacks are violent, making a generalized stereotype statement, extending the logic of X in this previous post, and clearly not understanding what's happening here, they reply saying, get your racist behind the F on somewhere else. And she literally did the meme. She literally did the meme. This is a consistently viral screenshot that shows up all the time, where one user said, when I say end all men, I really mean all. And someone says, even George Floyd. And they go, literally, what is wrong with you?
Yeah. It's almost like these people are mentally retarded. Oh wait, it's because they are. These people are mentally retarded. They can't think for themselves. They never did, they never will, because they don't have the capacity to do so. And that's why they believe what they believe. I say it a lot of times. It's very simple.
It happened again, ladies and gentlemen, but we can see a further description of their nuanced take, because one user would say, I always like the phrase, a hit dog hollers. And she says this, co-signing that logic. Now, of course, I know what people mean when they say a hit dog hollers, but think about that statement. People use it all the time. A dog hollers when it hits. You know, like when Kaya got shocked by Hassan, it yelps. You know, like when something bad happens, like getting hits, a person or dog in this case responds. What does that mean? But the way they use it is that...
Yeah, this is like when I say, oh, all single mothers are bad mothers. And all single mothers go, oh my god, how can you say that? Because statistically, single mothers are the #1 perpetrators of child abuse. There, which said that.
If someone says something...
Does that mean all single mothers are bad mothers? No. Some are good. But the absolute majority, oh god, no, they are horrible people. Horrible people, horrible parents. Way worse parents than they are even people. I would never trust a single mother with a child. Never.
And you deny it. Clearly you're guilty of whatever they're trying to say or accuse you of. And of course, I guess hit dogs holler when you have this sort of response to someone using your own logic against you. And when this user says you got cooked, they say, no, I don't speak to racist pieces of garbage. I win by default, choke, which is a not so subtle way of telling this person to
die,
have their life ended, obviously. But of course, their logic makes no sense. I think a lot of their responses are very impulsive on social media. It's like they always want to have the final word on everything. They respond to...
As stupid people do.
Everything. And this is what happens. You say, I don't speak to racist pieces of garbage. So I guess these users are not racist by your own logic because you spoke to them. Like,
well, yes. Logically, yes, but it's a woman, so logic doesn't apply.
You know what I mean? Like, again, just impulsive posts, make no sense. And of course, she'll be mad about that extension of her own logic because it's stupid. But yeah, that's precisely it. These statements are stupid, and people are just using your logic and your own words against you. And of course, if you don't want to talk to racists, maybe don't talk to yourself because you have this hatred of white people. You can't be racist against them, of course. Expected with virtue signalers like this. But of course, you can see another person trying desperately to clarify what's happening and why people are making fun of her and why she's a hypocrite. This user says, he just used your own logic against you, and by your own logic, the fact that you got triggered means you're the problem he's talking about. The fact that this went over your head is the real problem here. And then Vex says, just say you're part of the problem, bro. You're the men we're talking about. So we're extending...
Of course she can't... Of course she can't argue about what he said. He just goes and personally attacks them, of course. Which is not surprising, she's a woman.
It. Guys, we're actually going beyond the Kafka trap. Okay, it's not just people disagreeing with the generalized statement or being caught up as part of the problem. It's even people questioning the foundational logic and how it's being applied in ways the original poster didn't want it to, which was a natural extension of their logic. Even doing that, even questioning the foundational logic behind all this, gets you labeled as part of the problem. It's insane.
Of course.
But we're not done. Another user trying to clarify, saying, so it's okay to stereotype, got it. And then she says, it's a generalization based on statistics. If you're part of the stereotype, then cry.
Oh, she doesn't even know that. Oh my, she's so stupid. She's so stupid. Because by this we can say that all black people are criminals over all Afro-Americans. We can literally say that. Because, oh, look at the statistics. Oh, she's so stupid. She's so stupid. She's so stupid. Of course not all Afro-Americans are criminals. Of course not. Basically, only the ones that are the children of single mothers.
Come on. You don't see how this could be extended to other groups of people with intrinsic traits they didn't choose, right? Just making generalizations based on statistics, and if you have a problem with that, you're part of the problem.
No,
Do
she
you
can't.
not see that's how all of this began in the first place? Like, there is no self-awareness. The lights are on, but
Of course she has no self-awareness. She's stupid. She's stupid.
nobody's home. Terrible stuff. But then you can see people just pointing out, it's annoying when you generalize. I know you're not talking about me, but it's an obnoxious thing to say. And even someone saying, I get you, but it's just annoying to
She attacks them.
generalize. It's not good enough. So then she says, then hold the men we are talking about accountable. If it doesn't apply to you, you shouldn't be offended by a blanket statement about someone's gender. Well, yes, you should never be offended about a blanket statement regarding someone's gender. Again, keep that in mind, but someone tries to explain again. If it's okay to generalize men based on statistics, I have to assume you think the same of black people, which is really telling about your character. And she has no response other than saying LOL no. And then the other user says, they are both generalizations that you can make using statistics. And then her response is, bad people are bad people. Pointing out the color of their skin is a you problem. F off and go be racist.
Oh, she's so stupid. She's so stupid, man. I hope she makes holiday in Afghanistan or something like that.
Somewhere else. So she is missing the point entirely, and the user clarifies saying, who said anything about my opinions or thoughts? I sure didn't. All I did was change the category from men to black, from sex to race. That is all I did. And you still can't comprehend why I did that. It's actually hilarious. Like, you can spell it out. I don't know if she's just that disingenuous. She is intentionally ignoring what people are trying to do here, or she's just that clueless. She doesn't see it.
It's just low IQ. It's either low IQ or rage baiting, or a bit of both. But seeing behavior like this, it's very obvious low IQ.
Either way, it's really embarrassing. And of course, people are now extending it to women, making statements like this, calling all women promiscuous then. And then she says, that's not a nuanced statement, so no. You just hate women at that point. And this user, with the steel chair response, says, you are one of them. Yeah, you're part of the problem, I guess. Hit dogs, holler, you know what I mean? Like, this is, again, an extension of her own logic, and she's triggered by it, basically becoming a part of the problem by her own design. It's crazy. And then we see some, what is this, dark woke? Is this the dark woke people talk about, where they can, like, make insults that are normally offensive, but they're doing it wokely? One person says all women are valueless. And she says, I mean, if you feel that way, I'm assuming you're gay, which is perfectly acceptable. So
then why are you bringing this even up? Oh, women on leftists are so hypocritical. It's insane. It's insane how hypocritical is. Especially the woman. Oh my god, they are so hypocritical. No, they are all about, oh yeah, gay rights and all that stuff, but tolerance and shit like that, and the moment you don't want to fuck them, they call you gay as an insult. It's almost like they're retarded.
basically, this is their woke way of calling this user a homo, but then saying, oh, whoa, 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 it's perfectly okay. Like, we understand what they're doing here, right? They're trying to make this insult, but wokely, while also making sure that everyone knows they're okay with it, while also using it as an insult. It's very hypocritical. But then again, she also called someone slow, which again is a woke way of trying to call someone regarded, I guess. But then, of course, she's not done. She starts quoting herself and then quoting her quotes to really make sure everyone knows her nuanced take, saying, free block list in the replies here, saying that I hate men is not the same as being blatantly racist. Choke. So once again, telling people to choke, to presumably lose their life over arguments online. And then they clarify in another post saying, I hate men. Then people ask, why are you dating one? And she says, I'm not talking about my man. I said I hate men, not my man. Oh, he's one of the good ones, I guess. Did she not understand how this is applied to other groups of people based on their intrinsic characteristics they did not choose?
No, she doesn't, because she's stupid. How often do I have to say it? I think a lot.
At birth, like, it's insane. And again, she's talked about men before, and she's dating a white guy, and let's hope he grants her the confidence of mediocre white men. That's all I can say. But she does the classic thing. Okay, how many times have we seen this, right? You have someone who basically picks a fight with an entire gender, and when they start finding out, they start making themselves the victim. They start intentionally misrepresenting the situation, and then post a selfie for engagement and to get validation from strangers online.
Of course.
So they do exactly that. In quote saying, if you're mad about me saying all blacks are violent, you must be black and violent, end quotes. Not understanding that this entire situation is just an application of her own.
What? If you're mad about me saying all blacks are violent, you must be black and violent. Well, that's literally your logic. She's so dumb.
Logic, and she doesn't like the results. And then, of course, she adds on saying, no, I'm not a racist piece of filth. It's that simple.
Well, you are a piece of filth.
Given her own history of being racist towards white people, very hypocritical. But then people use the shoe on head meme from one of her recent videos, and she has an issue with that because she believes she is not doing the act of prostitution and tells people to shut their dumb behind mouth. And
how much you wanna bet she has an OF or a fansly?
And of course, we know that a big part of her content is doing adult content, right? Like, that's her primary form of income. That's her main thing. And it seems to be a very sensitive topic for her, where she is constantly promoting it, and honestly diabolical, right? Just
see, 18 slots left. Fill them and me up on the forbidden blue side. Wait, is she doing it with a entire gang? Oh my god, I am not surprised.
Promoting it, trying to sell it, and getting 24 likes. Brutal. But of course, they have a history of mocking people for being broke or unable to afford her adult content, which is very ironic, and I'll show why in a second. But here's a post from only a year ago saying, the men screaming and crying in my replies about how much my content costs. How does it make you feel knowing you can't afford to even look at me? Oh, what a narcissist. That's actually insane. You didn't make $900 a week at your job, let alone in a day. Is she trying to flex $900 a week? Which is not only cringe and what? But also,
I bet she's a socialist too. So why is she flexing money? That's very unsocialism, right? This is capitalism. So in a socialist country, she might actually be in trouble for that. But hey, she isn't for that kind of socialism, right?
For someone, I mean, if you're familiar with her account, it is a constant series of tweets, almost daily, asking for money, asking for crowdsourcing, asking for emergency streams, emergency funds. And she says that's based on a lot of her health needs. And if that's even true, okay, fine. You can absolutely ask for money, but then don't go around flexing how much money you have and then poor shaming people who, by the way, are your customers, and a lot of the problem men that you're mocking in your tweets. The irony is palpable, biting the hand that feeds, but she's not done with this entire topic. Another post.
There's more? We are almost at the end of the video and there's still more.
If you need 15 tweets to explain your nuanced post, maybe it's not nuanced, maybe it's just stupid.
Yeah.
But basically, they try to get into this entire breakdown, and you know what? I ain't got time for this. Blah, 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 blah. All you had to say was harmful people bad, but instead you said all men, and got triggered when people applied your own logic to other categories you didn't want to see happen, right? That's all there is to it. But you know what? Hit dogs holler, as they say. But of course, you can see they don't like people farming drama. Now, of course, they're allowed to farm drama on Twitter and get into controversy every 2 seconds. But of course, they talk about VTubers and content creators who do drama slop reactionary content. And they're mad because they spread misinformation and slander. And you know what? If you have an issue with my video, please take it up with yourself, because this entire video was just showcasing your own tweets. That's all this entire video was. If you're mad about this coverage, look in the mirror, because all I'm doing is showing your own public tweets. Yeah. They look bad enough on their own, but they look even worse when you compare them to other posts that make you hypocritical. That's like the entire situation. Dumb. So if you have a problem with my video, you should probably look in the mirror, because this is all about you. Yeah. But anyways, that's going to do it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please consider giving the video a like, consider subscribing, and turning on notifications for daily uploads, as well as multiple streams a week live here on YouTube. And I'll see you guys next time.
Shit.
She sees him running on the treadmill naked. I think he's trying.
We already saw that video. So, yeah. So, what do we have here? Another stupid woman saying and doing stupid shit. Oh my god, look how surprised I am by this. Can you tell how surprised I am? Yeah? Let me know in the comments if you are surprised too that the whole is stupid. And with that, we are at the end of this video. If you like this and want to see more, subscribe. See you next time. Bye bye.